Hi, Gemini, and welcome to your October 2023 horoscope. October is eclipse season, so it's exciting. You might face quite a few challenges, but keep in mind that at the end of the day, this is only for the best and it's for your growth. If you feel like after watching this video, you still want some extra support, I'm offering 30-minute personal eclipse readings. We're going to sit down one-on-one and we're going to pull up your chart and really take a look at what this eclipse means for you specifically. I'll leave the link for booking down below in the description box. We start off right with a bang. Between October 2nd and October 4th, we have Mars conjunct the South Node in your 5th house, and Venus is sextiling them from your 3rd house. There is a big focus for you this month on keeping a balance between the pleasures of everyday life and how much you're compromising on the future and where you want to be in the long term. So especially on Mars 2nd, 3rd, and on October 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, you might start to feel any type of anger you have towards your tendency to indulge in pleasurable things, in fun things, and how they're keeping you far away from where you want to be in the long term. During the summer, you have experienced Venus retrograde in your 3rd house, so you have been re-examining your local environment, the way you communicate and come across to others. So see if there is anything that you learned from the summer and about how you communicate that can help you shift your focus from everyday pleasures and into more of a long-term vision for your life. The energies keep on building. On the 8th, 9th, and 10th, Mars continues to travel through Libra, and it gets to a point where it starts to square Pluto in Capricorn in your 8th house. During this 3-day period, we also have Venus finally leaving Leo and entering Virgo, and as it does so, it opposes exactly Saturn in Pisces. So if there are any old beliefs that you have around what is taboo, what is not talked about, what are things that you need to keep hidden, during this time, all of that will come out and you will need to re-question and rethink whether they are really things that you need to keep hidden into yourself or whether you can open up to others a little bit more about them. Because Venus has now entered your 4th house and is opposing Saturn in Pisces, you might find that more of your attention and your energy is going towards nurturing yourself, nurturing your home environment, and making sure that a lot of your time and energy and value goes towards that and not as much towards your career or how you come across to others in the world. And then finally, we have the big event, the big crescendo on the 14th of October. We have a solar eclipse in Libra. We have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, and the South Node in your 5th house. It's a very tense day because this eclipse is actually squaring Pluto in Capricorn and it's trining Saturn in Pisces. So if you have not learned any of the lessons, any of the things that have been coming up in the first half of the month, you've just been shoving them under the rug, you might find during the solar eclipse, you are faced with them again, and you're faced with them loudly and clearly so they can no longer be ignored. Keep in mind that this is all for the better. Saturn transiting through your 10th house of career is really asking you to start to look at your public persona through a lens of maturity. It's time that you grow up in terms of how you show yourself to the rest of the world. And a part of this is this nodal story that's happening between the pleasures that you indulge in now and the long-term future and vision that you need to fight a little bit more for. These themes continue on in the rest of the month, and even though on the 21st we'll be faced with them again, this time it will be a little bit more gentle. So on the 21st, the Sun will close its final degrees in Libra, and as it does so, it will square Pluto in a Capricorn. I do not think this will be as intense just because the sun does move quite fast, so it's a quick one. But still, if there are the themes earlier that you didn't address, you will see them come up again. Another reason why I do not think this day will be that intense is because of the aspects between Venus and Jupiter. Venus in your 4th house will be trining Jupiter in your 12th house. This is a beautiful time to turn inward. The 4th and the 12th house are more inward houses. And to really take a look for the last year, you've had Jupiter in your 12th house, really enhancing all of the inner world, all of the feelings and ideas and things deep down there. So take a look now that you are more inwardly focused on your home and spending on alone time. If there is anything in that area, any of your beliefs that are no longer serving you and you need to let go of. On the 23rd, the sun finally finishes its transit through Libra and enters Scorpio, which is your 6th house. And as it does that, it begins to trine the Saturn in Pisces in your 10th. As the sun shifts into Scorpio, and actually the rest of the planets as well, slowly as the month closes, they shift into Scorpio, you might find that the things you learned around your pleasures, all of the indulgences, that now the focus shifts into, okay, but how can I translate this into an actual day-to-day routine? So it starts to get a little bit more practical. So on the 21st, it might be a good idea to sit down and actually put an action plan, some steps, maybe a checklist to translate everything that you learned earlier into something more practical and more tangible. You could say we have a little bit of a break, but not for too long, because on the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus. We have the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio in your 6th house, and they are loosely opposing the Moon and Jupiter in your 12th house. This is a big test for you, Gemini. It's time to be aware of all of the ways you are escaping, facing routine, facing reality, and to really push through it. Because keep in mind what you learned earlier, it's not just about everyday pleasures and fun, but if you really want to get somewhere in life, you need to do some planning and determine a focus for yourself. Notice if you escape a lot during this lunar eclipse. Note it down and try to see if from the eclipse onwards there are practical ways that you can deal with not escaping anymore. It could be anything for you. It could be watching television or something more extreme like drugs and alcohol. And finally, we close off the month on the 31st with Venus in your 4th house, trining Uranus in your 12th. I encourage you during this time to see if you can support your inner work, support all of the escapist tendencies that you might have by creating a perfect environment. You often hear, if you want to exercise, make sure you create the perfect environment, you give yourself time, you set out your workout outfit beforehand. This transit really means that for you. It's time to make sure that your environment does not support your escapist tendencies anymore. If you escape by watching TV, maybe it's time to just throw your TV out. And that's it for the month of October. Gemini, it's going to be a lot of internal work for you. Don't be afraid if stuff feels a little bit bleak, because you're really going to be faced with all the fun that you love to have. And fun is not bad. It's just important to keep it in check and to make sure that you are doing something meaningful at the same time. If after listening this, you're like, hey, I want more support, I want to know exactly what planets these eclipses are touching for me, I want to know if there's any particular action steps for me personally, then I am doing a 30-minute personal eclipse reading. There's only 10 of them. You can book them down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe because I do these forecasts every month. I hope to see you again soon.